we are live. What's up, beasties? It's me, it's Triple B, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another episode of Beast Friends Forever. And I am excited for tonight's show and tonight's guest. This guest is very special. There are two reasons why they're special. One, they're one of the first people I connected with and gave me a lot of advice. We talked a lot. And I just got to know him, and they've been a great friend. I consider them a friend. We'll see if he agrees. I don't know. But he's been somebody that I've really appreciated getting to know. But also, he was one of the first indie authors that when I got into BookTube and got into all this, I looked at his book, and I thought, I need that. And then I ordered it, and I got to see how awesome indie book packaging can be when it came to me with a little card addressed to me with my name. And it came with all sorts of swag, and the book was wrapped, and I was like, oh, this indie scene is not messing around. It was the first wax thing that I got, too, so I was impressed. And I've continued to be ever since. As you can see, these beautiful books all around me. And without further ado, let me bring them on, because we got a packed house already, so we got to get rolling. I'm talking about my man, Bill Adams. Here he is. Hold on.
Ooh.
Nope. There
no? Am I? Oh, yeah. The ground over.
Sometimes it freezes up. But anyway, welcome, my friend. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. Glad to finally get on here.
Heck yeah, man. It took me long enough to have you on. Good grief.
Yeah. It's all right.
Well, the reason was I read your novella right here, and I loved it. But I wanted to finish Godsblood before I had you on, and I'm halfway. But I picked it up. I picked it up a while ago and got about a third of the way through. And I really loved it. And then this weekend when I was camping, I started reading it again, and now I'm like, why did I ever
forgot everything? Probably, right?
What's that?
You forgot everything, right?
Yeah. I did have to go back in a couple characters. I was like, wait, what was that? But I got caught up pretty quick. But yeah, man, it's awesome.
The first half of the what happened in Lady Drakeslayer. I mean, I'll tell you exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we got a lot of people here, man. Let's shout out some peeps here. We got Alex is here. What's up, Alex? Thanks for being here, man. We got Space Mage Press. What's up?
Kevin.
Being here. Dewey, the artist extraordinaire, and the man with the cloud or the beard made out of clouds.
Yes.
He is here.
He puts them both to shame.
He does. We got GJ Greg Terrell in the house. What's up?
Greg.
Thanks for being here. We got from across the pond, J.A. Bryden is here. What's up, my friend? E.L. Montague is here. What's up, E.L.? Let's see. Oh, Laura Huey's here. What's up, Laura? How you doing? Good to see you. Oh, what is this? No. My computer's trying to update. I had to say no right now. We got Nick Betts is here. What's up, man? Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
Mr. Nick.
Let's see. We got a lot of comments in here I'm rolling through. Let's see. We got Alexandra is here. Oh, yeah. God's Blood is awesome. Audrey's here. What's up, Audrey? Ooh, here we go. GJ says Lady Drakeslayer is even better. Can't wait for that.
Personally, I agree.
SR Arkaway's here. What's up,
That's
SR? Right. Good to see you. Cal Logan is here.
Fellow Chicagoan.
Let's see. All right, there we go. Dewey says it's the vitamins. We got to take these beard vitamins because his looks like he could just float into the sky. Nice chin. All right, so it's exciting to have you on, man. As you can see, you got people that just love you, man, because you're just a good dude, and you're humble about it, which is what makes us love you even more. And you write really cool stuff.
I try. I mean, I think I do, but who knows?
I do. I've been hooked on God's Blood, and now I'm probably gonna just read that and Lady Drakeslayer back to back because it's good, man. It's kind of like you joked before about how people said it was like misborn fanfic or whatever. But
Anderson fanfic.
I think it's way cooler and way darker and edgier, and I love it. And I love the character.
I mean, when I got that NetGalley, I don't know if you're familiar with NetGalley. Yeah, some of those reviewers can be pretty brutal.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, I got a good cackle out of it. You know, it was like 590 pages of Sanderson fanfic. I'm like, I mean, it could be worse, but it's
Yeah,
like
there's worse things to be compared to.
at least pick Final Fantasy because that's exactly what I ripped off of,
Yeah.
not Sanderson. So at least pick the right one that fanfic for.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, man. Jeez. All right. Well, let's start off. Why don't you, for anybody that finds this when they're looking you up, why don't you tell people what you kinds of books you write in general, and then we'll dive more into each series specifically as we go.
Okay. Well, I like to write a lot of different things. I've never been, even when I started out many, many years ago, I didn't want to have, just one type of story.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go in publication order. The first one is with my buddy Dewey, who was
Yes.
my one of my first critique partners, like actual writing critique partners.
Nice.
It's funny. I found 3 with one tweet, and I still work with all 3 of them to this day. But Dewey and I was working on a different draft of Godsblood. We'll get into the history of Godsblood, which is long. And he was working on a version of what his story was called, The Tenacious Tale of Tanner, Tanner, the Tendersword.
What? No way.
Yeah. So while we were going with, so before we get into that, this is our middle grade fantasy book that we worked on together. Dewey did all this wonderful artwork. There's artwork inside that he has done. If you can see.
I love his artwork, man.
His artwork is awesome.
Yeah.
We were a finalist in SPIFBO, self-published fantasy blog off. This last version, or competition 10, first ever middle grade book. There. Thank you, Brian Bell and Dr. Chase. You guys forever in our hearts.
Oh yeah, they know what's up.
And then Dewey, also, I surprised him and entered him in the Best Indie Book Award competition for cover. And we won the children's.
No way, really?
Yeah, I completely surprised him. I didn't tell him I put it in, and we won. So yeah.
It deserves it. It's so awesome. I love that cover.
So yeah, this is middle grade adventure fantasy. It's told by a grumpy chronicler named Galdafor Quillpen about him working with Tanna the Tendersword, which is a spunky little would-be champion, and they're kind of like a yin and yang, odd couple. He's so unhappy to be around her because he's grumpy. She's happy, and they go on their first adventure, and they are punching above their weight because there is a education level of like adventure school that they go to, champion school, and they are doing a quest well above their level and age group. And it's fun. It's silly. There's as you can see on the cover, a chicken with a peg leg.
I love that.
With a peg leg, and in there is a sword. There is a reason why he has a sword. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun, a lot of little middle grade fun. But there is a lot to like as an adult, which is why getting into the history of it, Dewey was trying to query. Just wasn't getting the hits, and I would just not let him give up on this book. Like I would not let him go away with it because this book had to be out. Like we had to get it out. We had to do it, and I begged and begged. Didn't really take much begging. He'll but I'm like, come on, let's do it together. Let's put the story together. Let's put our brains together. Let's see what we can do, and we did a big edit. We changed some storylines up and made it simpler, or not really simpler, but just kind of streamlined it a little bit into this one book as opposed to the big ideas he had for the whole series. And yeah, we decided to go self-pub route. Um, and it's been a fun journey with Tanna, because it's been great seeing, with indie books, it's usually adult readers. You don't you see a bunch of YA indie books, but you don't see a lot of middle grade books.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
because, as you're a father, as you
Hmm.
have with kids, the parents are usually the gatekeeper of what the kids are
Right.
reading.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard on middle grade and indie, because if the adults are not thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to read a middle grade book,
Right.
they're probably not going to see it, because
Yeah.
the kids aren't going to be the ones on Kindle Unlimited.
Right.
They're not going to be the ones
Snagging it
flipping.
for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been very interesting. And I will say that, we were very lucky with the Spiffbo getting in the judging
Mm-hmm.
group with Dr. Chase, and then Brian Bell from BellTube
Mm-hmm.
as our sub judge.
Oh yeah.
Brian said it in all his videos when he picked us. He's like, I never expected a middle grade book to be the one I want to put forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just, when people go into books with open minds and just want to enjoy books for books and not pick at them, you can find the stuff you like in any type of book, whether it's meant for you or not. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's just been a very, very, very awesome journey. Very awesome journey. And we're very lucky and couldn't be any happier with how this book has gone for us.
Oh, it's so cool, man. Like you said, I mean, congrats on being the first middle grade book to make it in
Thank you.
there and that far. That's amazing. But like anybody that knows the two of you, I mean, you guys individually, but like when your powers combine, how do you not want to root for you guys? Like you're the
I mean,
coolest
it's
dudes.
mostly
Yeah.
Dewey. It's mostly Dewey. He's just a good soul.
Well, yeah, he's over here by the fire reading chapters like Santa Claus or something. Over
Right?
there. How do you not love him? But I just think it's awesome, dude. Now you mentioned that it was Tanner, the
Hmm.
Tendersword, before. So how did you guys start working? Like he had this story. Like how did you guys decide like what to change and how to change it and collab together to like make it what it became?
So, yeah, one of the first things when we were doing our critique partners, as critique partners, the thing that hit me, it was Tanner, it was a boy, and the two boy characters in there, and I'm just like thinking to myself as I'm reading, like, this would hit so much harder if Tanner is a girl,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously this is some of the society we live in is very, it's always the boy is the
Yeah,
hero.
yeah, yeah.
Whereas if we make the girl the hero and the boy want to be a scribe, can you imagine if we get this to the masses and get it kids'
Mm-hmm.
hands, like what that will do for young readers to
Right.
see themselves in that opposite role that they're
Yeah.
normally not in?
Oh
And
yeah.
when I said that to Dewey, it clicked, like the light bulb went
Mm-hmm.
off. And then we kind of played with that, because the character Geldafor, his aunt is like a famous chronicler,
Mm-hmm.
and Tanna's hero is a famous champion, and she chronicled for him. So you're having that
Oh,
opposite
that's cool.
of, the boy is,
Yeah.
very wanting to be like his aunt, and the girl
Mm-hmm.
wants to be like him, so it's like it really played with a good dynamic of, you know, good relationships, one, but
Mm-hmm.
two, like you can aspire to be what you want no
Yeah.
matter who you are. And that's something that we wanted to do with the kids stuff, or at least that's what I brought to him with the kids stuff.
Yeah.
And that worked.
Oh, it's brilliant,
And
man.
then when I convinced Dewey to let me ride his coattails, um, we sat down and we looked at some of the bigger lore that he
Mm-hmm.
had, and we just discussed it. We became basically like brothers throughout the years. Like he's probably my best friend, and it's just we trust each other implicitly to have each other's best in heart. So when we were talking about going the self pub route and doing this book together,
Mm-hmm.
we just would just be on the phone shooting stuff back and forth, ideas back and forth, and like, well, what if we did this? What if we changed this? What could we do with this? And it just worked. I will tell you this, writing with another person is not an easy thing. Um, oh yeah, I'll mention what Dewey just said in the comments here. Um, Writing with another person is not an easy thing, especially when you have opposing styles. um,
Mhm.
I'm not a pantster, but my outline is like one line per chapter.
Yeah.
Dewey is a very, very detailed
Oh man.
plotter
Okay.
and outliner.
Hmm.
Um, so meshing our styles was, is so again, if you don't have a good relationship, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh
writing a
yeah.
book is not easy in general.
Right.
Doing
Right.
it with people is even harder. And then
Hmm.
especially in this indie game, Amazon setting it up on KDP and all that good stuff, it
Hmm.
doesn't make it conducive for two
Right.
people.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
learning curve. But again, it really worked because we were friends first before we
Yeah.
got to this. And then I also Pegs is the character. That's um, the
The chicken
rooster with the sword.
rooster. Hmm.
Um, Before it was Peggy was just the chicken, and it did not tie in directly to the story. Like she
Hmm.
was her own character, and I actually changed uh, or gave the idea to do it. Like, what if we did this? And it actually, like, if you read the book and as an adult, it's pretty obvious of who Pegs
Yeah.
is. Um, but for young kids, they might, that's one of those like discovery things. So like,
Hmm. Hmm.
I wanted, like, when I brought it to Dewey's, thought process was like, let's streamline this so we can bring less characters, but also have fun reveals and stuff like that.
That's cool. Very nice. J.R. Correll just popped in. What's up, man? Thanks for being here. So, well, first, I'm curious. Like, did you ever think when we'll talk about your own journey into becoming an author in a while? But did you ever think that you would write like a middle age book? Was that even like in your bouncing around in your mind? That's something you wanted to do?
To be honest, not necessarily middle grade,
Hmm.
but throughout the journey, there was a time where I was going to write a version, not of God's Blood, but of a different part of God's
That's where
Blood.
you're going. I was like, no
No,
way.
no, 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 no.
Straight up children's picture book of it.
No, okay, so we'll get into it, but God's Blood is actually an amalgamation of three different stories I wrote.
Okay.
Um, well, technically four, I guess.
Oh wow.
It's four separate stories that kind of
Hmm.
go into the world. There was a time when one of the stories was going to be young adult. And so I had in my mind that I was going to write a YA book, but YA and middle grade are completely different
Oh
types
yeah.
of stories. We can do a whole video
I was
discussion
gonna
on the
say
difference
we
between
probably
those.
should. I feel like that's always been something that interests me is to dive into the differences between those two.
There's a lot, and a
How
lot
you
of people don't
decide?
realize it.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
specifically a middle grade book, no. But after meeting Dewey, I actually had an idea for a middle grade book.
Okay.
And the funny part is that anthology we just released with the
Yep.
Secret Scribes, that story
Yep.
that's in there
Yeah.
was part of that middle grade book.
Ah, no way. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. There's a little lore, people. Go get that anthology. Wait, where is it? That's like a good time for me to show it off. Hold on. Wait. I got it right here. Locks and keys. Oh, you beat me
Yep.
to it. Go get it. I'll link it in the description down below. I do. Oh, P.S. Everyone watching, whether you're live or on replay, all of Bill's books are linked down below, along with Willow Wraith Press website, and I'll add locks and keys. I should have had that down there. But anyway, go on. We were talking about so that the story that you have in this was
Hmm.
that kind of middle grade idea you had.
Yep. But it was so. It's a good lead in to God's Blood, the God's Blood tragedy, because I've been working on a version of this story for going on 18 years now.
Damn.
I started. Uh, I worked in a archaeology museum my senior year of college because
Wait,
my
hold on
degrees.
a second. When you were a senior, you worked in an archaeology museum?
Yeah, it's called the
Talk
Stone
about a
Age
sweet
Institute.
job. Dang.
Um, it was a It's an like the people. It's a private owned museum by two pretty big names in archaeology.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Indiana University, so it's at IU. They're professors at IU, and yeah, I worked there. They had their own little library in the museum, and all I was doing was cataloging their library. And while I was doing that, that's when I started the first iteration of what became Godsblood. And at one point, like I said, it's an amalgamation of four different stories. At one point, there was a saga, like a 9-book saga,
Oh
and
man.
each of them were going to be like either duologies, trilogies, standalones, and that middle grade book was actually going to be part of that saga.
Oh,
It was
cool.
going to be a generational family
Yeah,
saga.
that's
So
cool.
yeah, that story was going to be one of them, or it was the start of one of them.
That would have been something, man. You might have had to change your pantsing ways. You might have needed a more detailed plotting
Well,
outline, like Dewey does for that kind of a thing.
yeah, I have the spreadsheet somewhere. I could show it to you.
So you had it ready to go. It wasn't just an idea. Like you like really were working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you want to revisit eventually?
Well, so small spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in Lady Drake Slayer,
Did
I
you say Lady Gaga almost?
almost said Lady Gaga. Yeah. No, in Lady Drake Slayer, small spoiler, I did create by pantsing my own universe to tie in that. Because it's Sanderson fanfic, I need my own
Mhm.
Cosby,
Oh
right?
well, of course,
Um,
of course.
so, so yeah, I tied that in by bringing it all together. So that's all there. Like that basis is still there.
Ooh, okay.
Um, and the next book that I'm going to be releasing, it's called Death Show Colossus. It's a standalone, um, but it is in the God's Blood world.
Oh, that's sick.
Not like the world, not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if we're not on Earth, it's they're
Like in
different
that
places.
universe.
Yeah,
Okay.
shared universe.
Very cool, man.
So
All right.
it's all there. It's all there, and I'm like repurposing other stories that like I have because I don't want to lose those stories because
Yeah.
I've written a full trilogy. I've written another book that ties into God's Blood as the prequel. I don't want to lose all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Well, we want to read it, man. Everybody's excited about that show, Colossus.
Yeah,
It
Greg's read
says it's
it.
great. I know he read it. Dewey says it's going to be hot.
It's it's gonna be fun. I mean, what it is it's the Running Man, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man
Ooh,
versus Shadow of the Colossus. Those are my comps because that's exactly what it is. It's a deadly game show where they have to
dude,
get to and climb a
that's
Colossus.
awesome. Did you plan that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like with the with Running Man coming
Yep.
out. Oh, that
Well,
was
no, not with it coming out, but
okay.
it was kind of funny because I just like
It's gonna work out nicely, though.
I've had that idea for 7 years, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and Dewey's known about it. I've talked about it, and again, I'll talk about God's Blood. Part of that got into God's Blood. Part of that idea got into God's Blood,
Hmm.
and yeah, when I saw the movie was coming out, I'm like, I just released Lady Drake Slayer. I saw that they're doing a remake of The Running Man, which the Arnold movie is one of my favorite popcorn
Hmm.
movies of all time.
Oh yeah, same.
Uh, with God's Blood being dark, like it's a dark series,
Oh
I
yeah.
wanted to do something short. uh, because Lady Drake Slayer's 700 pages, I wanted something that was like 300 to
Boy.
350.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted a smaller cast. I didn't want a sprawling world. I wanted a
Hmm.
standalone. I wanted just popcorn. And I had so much fun writing it. Like I
Hmm.
flew through writing. It's like 80,000 words. It took me hardly any time at all to, write it. And then, I've had a few people read it. Greg read it. Audrey, who's in the chat, read it. And then Andres, if you know Andres,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
he read it, and getting his approval as a reader, like just a straight reader,
Oh yeah.
I was like, I did
That's
something
awesome.
right.
You did something right. We got some more people popped in real quick. We got Miriam is here. What's up? Made it. Christopher D. Brand is here. Yes, Mike Roberti said Bill is the man. So everyone come and see evidence of this. And Trinity Cunningham's here. What's up, Trinity? Thanks for being here. Uh, that's cool, man. That sounds like a lot of fun, especially playing in kind of that universe where you can write things darker, having a game show type thing in that. I can't wait to see what that's like.
It's
So this is kind of, you said it's standalone, but in the universe. So like
mhm.
you'll be able to tell it's in that universe, but you don't have to have read anything else to
Nope.
enjoy it.
Nope.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, there's the things. I mean, I'm keeping it simple, very similar to the Cosmere, where there's a few things that cross
Right.
all the
You'll
books.
if you've read them, you'll get it, and it'll be a
Yeah,
nice little
but
like
you don't have to read the other
yeah.
ones to have done it. Like the Godsblood series will be like the main series, in it. The
Yeah.
rest of them are going to be their own thing, and they're kind of like a little further away from the epicenter, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I like it, man. All right. Well, we've hinted at it a few times. Why don't we just go all in and talk about this journey to God's
This
blood,
journey.
where you wrote 700 books and put them all into one?
Okay, so the first iteration, which, okay, I'll say this, I've cut and pasted a lot of characters, I've changed their arcs and stuff, but I originally wrote a trilogy and then I morphed it into a 5-book series. It was completed and I had these arcs, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it was very classic fantasy. I was inspired. Terry Brooks was like my first
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
foray into fantasy reading. When I was in 6th grade, we had the Book It. I don't know if people
Oh
are
yeah,
old
heck
enough
yeah,
for
book
Book
it.
It with the
Heck
Pizza
yeah,
Hut
dude. I
stuff.
was trying to think of that the other day when someone was on. We couldn't remember what it was called. Book
Yep,
it.
Book It.
That's what it was called.
So we had the point system with Book It. Like you got point, like you took the test on stuff, and Sword of Shannara was one of them, and it had the most
Oh yeah,
points on it. And I'm like, I got to read that book.
I
Yeah.
remember that too. You're right.
So Terry Brooks' early Shannara books are classic journey.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Sword of Shannara is based off like a bootleg Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
that's what Del Rey, the publisher, wanted at the time in
yeah.
the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But after the first book, it becomes its own thing.
Right.
And those books always inspired me. So I wanted to write something in that vein. And that first story I started writing was in a Terry Brooks journey type vein. Uh, I tried querying, I tried doing all that good stuff. That was back in like 2010,
Oh wow.
when you're still before internet,
Right.
email query. You're still
Yeah.
putting it into
Oh yeah.
envelopes, sending it.
Physically, yeah. You really were going at it. Yeah.
So it was a fun thing to learn, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like I've looked at that. I actually printed it out. I don't have it. I should have brought it. A printout on just regular paper of that book, and it's not good. I know it's not good. Um, but the one thing I did is when I finally started the journey of trying to find an agent, I
Mm-hmm.
started looking into like courses and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And there was this one course that was through the Writer's Digest, and it was by an agent at the time. And I thought it was awesome. And I talked to him, and he read the book. He wasn't going to do it for making me, an offer or anything. He was doing it to just like help me as like almost kind of a mentor type
Mm-hmm.
thing. And um, we had just moved to St. Louis. This is 2015. We moved to St. Louis for my wife's job, and I actually went remote at that time. Like I've been remote working since 2015, and being a remote worker allows a lot of downtime.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so I was able to start writing in earnest then. So I rewrote that first book. Like I went from scratch. I started implementing the steampunk vibe that's in God's
Mm-hmm.
Blood. Um, I started putting in a lot of the magic system that's there into it, but it was still a different story than what is in God's Blood today.
Okay.
Queried that, did all that stuff. I actually finished the trilogy, finished the series of the way it was going to go, and still nothing. But I wanted a completed series, like I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Like I know they say like the advice is don't finish the series, write the first book, then query. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it. I got the ideas.
Right.
I'm
Just
doing
get it
it.
out. Yeah.
And so I did it, queried it, didn't do anything. But then we moved to Texas the following year for my wife's job. And
Hmm.
that's when I met Dewey. I met my other critique partners, and that's when the story really started to change into somewhat what it is now. I wrote it and I was querying it, nothing. So then I started. That's when I started writing the YA story, which for God's Blood, the Emra and Lojin characters.
Hmm.
That's that YA story
Okay.
that I started writing. And the idea came to me. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Where Eagles Dare. It's a Clint Eastwood World War II movie.
Oh, I haven't.
Um, it's a classic. He kills the whole Third Reich and part of the Fourth without reloading.
Oh, that sounds
Um, you
great.
know, but
Class.
it's a classic. There's so many twists and turns. It's crazy. But anyway, the movie takes place on this giant like castle on top of a mountain, right? And the only way to get there is on cable car, like a cable car
Oh,
thing.
nice.
So I had this idea, like the whole idea you haven't gotten, I don't know if you've gotten there yet in the story, but in the God's Blood's tragedy, spoiler, there is a floating fortress held over this city with
Hmm.
4 giant chains. The bad guys are up there and the good guys are trying to get up there to do something. So I had this idea of I want somebody climbing that chain to do something on the fortress. And it was inspired from that movie. So that's where I wrote what at the time was called Prometheusite Unbound, because it was the fuel source was Prometheusite. I just based
Okay.
it off of Prometheus, the myth of
Yeah,
Prometheus.
yeah, yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
But now it's Aethysite in the book.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
stuff's
Okay. I
still
wonder.
there. Again, all that stuff's still there. So I
Oh, yeah.
created that one, right? Queried that, nothing. I mean, I got a couple of partials on that one because the
Yeah.
story was fun. It was a standalone. Um, it was fun. Didn't go anywhere. And then I wanted to take a break on the original God's Blood story. So that's when I started writing what became Lady Drake Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Called Lady Dragon Killer at the time. So I created a bunch of the lore for that, and that's when that generational saga in my mind
Oh,
started
yeah.
coming together
Yeah.
because I wanted each book or each little part of that saga to focus on Sandersonian, and there's giant crystals, but this is Final Fantasy. This is where the Final Fantasy part comes in. The Final Fantasy 12 and the Ivalus
Oh, yeah.
and stuff. That's where that comes in with the crystals. Um, that's when I started creating that part of it in that. So I started writing that book. Didn't get very far because then I went back and wrote this other book called The Last God's King, which is the history that now became God's Blood. I know
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like that Charlie Day meme right now. Where it's like,
I say, hold on, let me get my board and my strings of yarn
yeah,
out.
no, it is. It's ridiculous. Like I said, I wrote 4 books, 4 different stories,
Amazing, though,
multiple
man.
versions of it, and then I was, then it just dawned on me that there was so many similarities with the magic. There were so many similarities with just the type of story I was telling. I'm like, you know what? At this point, fuck it. I'm gonna combine this all together.
Yeah.
So I just sat down and looked at it for a long time. I talked to Dewey, I talked to the other critique partners, and I'm just like, what if I do this? Like, this becomes the plot, right, of book 1. So, like I said, I peeled back characters, I combined character arcs from these 4 stories and put them into this one giant chunker of a book. And yeah, I'm very happy with this book. It is not an easy read. I made the conscious choice. I wanted it to be no hand holding. I
Hmm.
wanted to drop you right into the
Yeah.
the inferno, so to speak, and kind of learn with the reader. But I also wanted the hectic pace.
Mm.
Because that book that was about the heist with the Emra and Logen arc,
Yeah.
I actually wrote it to be a 24-hour book. So
Oh
each
wow,
chapter was 1 hour of
that's
the
cool.
day.
Hmm.
So it had a hectic pace. So I needed the hectic pace in here. So
Yeah.
again, I just combined characters and the arc and just wanted it to be hectic. And there is a point where everyone that's read it is like, man, that first part is kind of dense because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. There's all this lore. The
Yeah.
characters are doing stuff. You're changing POVs left and
Hmm.
right. But around that 25 to 30% mark, it clicks for readers. And then
Hmm.
that last 400 pages is
You're
straight
just
to the end.
ready
And
to balls
yeah,
to the wall.
exactly.
Oh, dude. Well, and I do agree. You don't hold hands, but I've read some books where the author doesn't hold your hand, and like I literally have no idea what's going on
Malazan.
through a lot of the book. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like yours is you don't hold hands, but like the way you write it, still like by the end of that POV first POV chapter, I kind of am getting it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Sweet. And then yes, then you switch to a new one, and I'm like, but and sometimes they kind of build off each other too, where it's like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, this person's a POV. I thought, I'm not spoiler. I'm not gonna say anything spoilery, but anyway, you did it
Yeah,
well.
they all come together. All the plots, like because
Yeah,
most books you read, most especially fantasy with multi point of view, they're either in the same group right away or
right.
they interact right away.
Hmm.
This one, it takes a little while for the characters to interact, but when they do, they're powerful scene. Well, at least I think they're powerful scenes
Yeah,
because of plot reasons.
yeah,
I'm not going to spoil. I mean, there are
yeah, yeah,
reasons
yeah.
why they are. I mean, if you read the blurb, it's kind of obvious.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Well, I feel
but
like too seeing characters on their own, not together, where you don't see them secondhand yet, it really builds each character up, and you learn to love them, and they just seem so much bigger in your mind that when they get together, that's when you get that like Avengers like feel, like
yeah,
oh man, now they're interacting with each other. Where like you said, if it's right from the start, it's like well yeah, now we're just following, we're in his head instead of her head, so I think you did it a good way. That's a good way to do it.
there was another one of my favorite authors. His real name was David Wolverton. He just passed a couple of years ago, but he wrote fantasy books under the name David Farland. He actually taught Sanderson. He taught Stephanie Meyer. He taught some other of these big names uh, in his class. He did classes at BYU, but he had this newsletter. It was phenomenal. His writing advice was just spectacular and transformative for me.
Mhm.
Um, some of the stuff that he put in there, I took to heart. Like you said, I don't hold hands, but I make it so you kind of understand. Like
Mhm.
that was one of his things. Is like if you're going to use a new lore term, like if an in-world term, you have to within the next sentence or two define what that term is in layman's terms.
Right.
So like there was one version of this story where I was making it in an alternate ancient Rome. Again, I
Oh
was
wow.
classical archaeology was my
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
my degree, so I wanted to make it Latinized ancient Rome. I
Hmm.
was using the Roman gods and stuff, and the city was actually Rome where it took place. Um, a different alternate Rome, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
I kept some of those Latin terms in the book. So the word for dress in Latin is stola. It's just a type of dress.
Hmm.
So I use stola first, but not a lot of people know what that is. And then the next sentence I say, it's stain the dress burgundy. Like that's in the first chapter, and then like the
Yeah.
first paragraph, basically. And I'm like, David Farland said stuff like that. You have to ease your reader in, even if you're not going to hold their hand or if you're going to use a lot of in-world terminology. So that's something I tried to do. And then his big thing for me, and this is what I mean by conscious decision. I know a lot of people don't like full immersion in their reading. They don't
Mhm.
want detailed scenes. They just want the characters doing something and all that good stuff. I am a full believer and I love my immersion. So David Farland was like, you have to touch all five senses to build a scene. And I do that. In like the city of Drenth, where this takes place, it takes place all in one city. I wanted the reader to feel like they're in the dirt and grime of Drenth.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I wanted you to feel like you're there. Like I want that
Mhm.
to be another character.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, it comes from David Farland. He said that's what you're supposed to do, and I took it to heart. And some people might not like that, and that's perfectly fine. Like I know not every book is for everybody, but I made an effort. Like that was the decision I made with this book. It was going to be you're going to feel there. You're going to feel like you're in this city with them.
Yeah.
And
I
that's why
love
I wanted the characters and the readers to just be like dealing with this rebellion right at the beginning, and you're just like, what the hell is happening? Like, why am I
Yeah.
following this character running through this city that's being bombed by its own people, like their own rebels?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Like, I wanted that to happen. So,
Yeah.
but I will
Yeah.
say, Lady Drakeslayer takes a completely different turn. It's a different style of book because I decided I wanted each book in there to have a different vibe.
Okay.
So
Smart. Smart. All right.
book one is Heist Rebellion.
Yep.
Lady Drakeslayer is more fantasy noir,
Okay. Ooh,
with some
noir. I
mystery,
like that. Okay.
and war, obviously,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you nailed it with the city. The city just feels alive, man, and I loved it. All right, let me shout out some more people that popped in.
Gotta go back. I talked a little bit.
That's okay. That's okay. You're the star of the show, man. We're here to hear you talk. But Shane Boyce is here. He gave you a nice nickname, Bill. I don't hold hands, Adams. What's up, Shane? And then Greg gave you a different one, Bill. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you like that character? I'm prepared for that.
Spoiler alert to everybody. I don't have plot armor on my characters. Sorry, not sorry.
I'm prepared. I remember you saying that before.
And I love when readers swear at me for doing that stuff. So feel free.
Yeah, right. Yes, come yell at Bill. He likes it. And of course, Timothy Wolf is here. What's up, Timothy? How's it going, man? Thanks for being here. And it's not a conversation with Tim, of course, without the dancing emojis every
Right?
time.
Glorious. Glorious.
Yes, glorious. Oh, and yes, it's called Tragedy for a reason, Alex. That is true. That's true.
Well, I should show this off. I've never done it because
well, then let's do it.
But Alex actually got into bookbinding.
He made one for you. That's
He made one for me, which
what a guy.
he did with
that is cool.
the blade of the
chains.
character.
Okay.
It's called the Strix, which is the demon blade that talks and is very annoying.
Yeah, I like that.
Funny story about this is Alex had the book on his shelf, and his wife was like, "Why is it called the Godsblood tragedy?" So Alex, for this one, he put on the Godsblood tragedy.
Awesome. Nice. That's cool.
I mean, it pulls off, but I like.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. You gotta leave it on there for that.
Oh,
that's so cool. Let's see. Cal said cursing out the author is the highest form of praise. True.
I did that to Cal's book, Shadowbane, at the end. If I wasn't reading on my phone, I would have thrown the book. And I told him that, right? I told him after I finished. When I was messaging him, I was like, because I had an idea in my head of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then he just completely pulled the rug out from under me. And I was just so mad. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, he needs to get his next book out here soon. Come on, man.
He just announced it's done.
I know.
So
exciting stuff. But he asked a good question I wanted to get back to. I don't want to forget. He said, did you find it hard to juggle the tone of YA segment in Godsblood with the other more adult elements of the story?
Yes. And you can almost see it in the Lojin character, because Lojin was technically, I mean, he's a dragon person. He's not human. so they
Right.
age differently. He's an adult,
You could
of
say
their,
he's a lizard person.
well, he's a dragon person. He's a draken. Um, uh, so he's not a young A character, but the other two main characters were YA.
Hmm.
So Emra and the main female character, Cadriana, were in that original story. They were siblings, and they were the young adult age, which is,
Hmm.
16, 18. When I made the change, I'm not going to spoil what they are now in this book, or how they're related now, but I aged them up, way up.
Okay.
And one of the processes that I use when I write is I'll write the first draft, and then I start a brand new document for the second draft, because that helps me, one, fix the prose, the ugly stuff, but also it helps me to just ideate better. And so that old version of that story as the YA, uh, yeah, it was kind of hard to juggle it in, or like bring it in. But since I was rewriting writing from scratch, the bones of the scene never changed.
Hmm.
But I was able to change the characters. Um, because, like I said, I also combined a lot of characters.
Right.
Um, One of the things about my original draft, if you would read that abomination, um, all the characters sound the same. Like the two, it was a male female point of view, and then there was a third male POV, and they all had the same voice. Um, and no knock to anybody who writes like that, but I again made it my goal with this book to have each POV sound different.
Hmm.
Like, yes, the basic prose and the narration might be similar, but I want that voice to sound distinct. Um, like you have to have characters that just sound different. Um, Otherwise, they'll be like, who? Like, if they're all in a scene together and they're just talking, like, wait, who the hell is talking?
Yeah. Right.
Like,
Yeah.
wait, I
Yeah.
thought that was this person or whatever.
Right. Yep. Yep.
So
Exactly.
again, being able to take four different stories and merge them into this series, by cutting some characters out and giving those arcs to other characters, uh, helped make this adult, because this is not just, it's a dark book. It's a very
Hmm.
dark book. It's a very dark world.
Right.
Uh, I don't know if I prescribe to the grim dark, noble dark, all that gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Um, it's a dark world. There is levity in it, but I don't know if you would call it hope, like with the
Hmm.
noble bright or noble
Yep.
dark, where there's hope
Yeah.
and stuff, because the bad guys already won, in this, and it's kind of like the good guys are trying to find their footing,
Hmm.
so to speak. Um, and I wanted it to be dark, so again, circling back to that question is, I had to make that world from that other book, that the YA book, much darker. Um, but yeah, it wasn't terribly hard, I don't think. I don't know. It's kind of hard to look back at all this. It's been
Yeah.
17 years, and I've been,
It's
putting
a
it out.
journey, man.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
wild, dude. I mean, it's basically the biggest thing of all. Like, I think is cool is this. It's a testament to people to not give up on a dream, but also to not give up on a story. I mean, you already talked about not letting Dewey give up on his story, and you didn't give up on yours. Like, I just
Nope.
think that's awesome, man. For it's
And
inspirational for everybody.
it's funny because, I'm like I said, I'm taking a sabbatical on this series because
Hmm.
these books take a while to write.
Oh yeah, they're beasts.
Luckily, I had Lady Drakeslayer 90% drafted before I released Godsblood.
Hmm.
Um, but I changed the last 50,000 words of Lady Drakeslayer. I just didn't like where two characters' arcs ended. I was just
Hmm.
not a fan of it. So, I rewrote that and pushed a bunch to book three and all that stuff. But it took a long time. I really wrote those books and spent a lot of time on them, but I need a break from this world. Um, and now that they're out and, they're doing decent. I'm not, making it rain like, ZB Steel or somebody like that. Um, but I needed a break. But what I'm doing, after Colossus comes out, or while I'm getting Colossus geared up, I'm going to take my original plot line for the Ash character in God's Blood
Hmm.
from my original story,
Yeah.
and I'm going to create a separate story, a separate
Nice.
series of standalones that are connected but not connected. Um, and I have ideas how I want it to go, and it's going to be more. Um, it's almost going to be romantasy, but it's going to be fantasy romance, and there's a difference between those two terms,
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
but it is like there was a heavy dose of romance in those first books. Like it was romance forward, and I want to do that. So that's going to be the next one after, or next story I actually start writing before I
Very
get
nice.
to God's Blood 3.
Okay. So that's what's up next. Very cool. All right. Now, have you started on it yet, or are you on
I'm
your sabbatical still?
no, I'm putting it in my spreadsheets and getting the stuff figured out because
Nice.
um, again, it's a different magic system, but it's got the same magic basis as God's Blood, which is what all these worlds are going to have.
Hmm.
And I have the plot arc done. I wrote it. I just need to refit it to what I need it to be. And I'm going to gender swap the points of view because God's Blood is mainly like the main character is a girl, or she is a girl. She's 18. She's young. In
Hmm.
Colossus, it's a young woman. Um, I'm gonna gender swap the main character in this other one, and
Nice.
also like I feel like I'm going to the masses. If you get the Twitter drama and shit where they're like, "Where's the fantasy romance with a male main
Oh
character
yes.
for men?" And I'm like, well, I didn't intend to do it that way, but the story is that it's always
Yeah.
been that. So I'm gonna do that next.
That's exciting, man. I'm pumped for that. That's very cool. Mike Molman is here. What's up, Mike? Thanks for being here. Uh, let's see. There was a comment I wanted to touch on because somebody else just brought it up again. Nick Betts had said, that's, is it strikes or strikes?
Yes.
Okay,
So
strikes.
that's a Latin for owl,
Okay,
and it's a
very cool.
Roman term like the owl god type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, the Strix has always been fun, and he is well she technically if you want to gender the demon, but
Yeah.
uh, you'll have to read book 2 to understand that part, Nick. But
Okay.
I'm getting the audio work done, and the lady that's doing the audio, the narrator, uh, her voice for the Strix is I like it.
Oh,
It's
that's
very
sweet.
like what's how do you sepulchral like a sepulchral like a
Oh,
ghost tomb, sepulchral. I
I
can't.
don't know, man.
I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it's like that. It's like ghastly, but also got a little bit of a hiss to
Ooh.
it because of plot
Okay,
reasons.
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited
So
for.
it's
Uh,
perfect for what you wanted for
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
he's
awesome.
nailing it. She's nailing
No,
it.
that is very cool. Let's see. Shane said going full Kristoff.
Yep.
There we go.
I mean, to be honest, Ash is very much Mia Corvier from Night Nevernight.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
she definitely drinks and swears and is very uncouth, uh, just to say the least.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's good. John A. Douglas, Mayor of Orc City's here. Is that Bill Adams? It sure as hell is.
What's up, John?
Oh man. All right. So let's take a little segue and talk about this little fella over here.
This one, yeah,
Yeah.
unlucky evens, cursed odds.
Yes, that one.
Um,
That one was so fun. I want to hear how in the world you came up with this idea.
uh, yeah. So first foray into true sci-fi,
Oh yeah.
because God's Blood is science fantasy.
Hmm.
There is magic tech and all that stuff, but um, two sources of inspiration from there. One, the idea popped in my head. We had just had our son, so we did IVF, right, for our
Mhm.
son. And for those who don't know, when you do IVF, you get a number of embryos, or the embryos, and then you fertilize them. And if some stick, some don't, um, or they don't fertilize exactly.
Right.
And so we had 7 embryos that were fertilized. And when you go to transplant, you get to pick. Like you get to pick which one. We
Yeah.
told the guy, we're like, pick which one you think will be the strongest one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll
Yep.
pick, right?
Yep.
So keep that in mind. We did the IVF. Now, as all new parents know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't sleep. Our kid had colic, very
Oh,
bad colic. So we
that's rough.
literally had to rock his ass in a rocker violently for him to sleep.
Yeah.
So for the first 3 months,
Ah.
we were on shifts. I was on the nighttime shift. I stayed up overnight. That's when I actually started getting into Kindle, because I was
Yeah.
always a physical reader.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got into Kindle. I watched the first 4 seasons of Vikings. I watched a bunch of other shows because I was up
Mm-hmm.
all night,
Oh
like,
yeah.
rocking his ass.
Rocking. Yeah. You can't. You only got one hand.
Yeah, like, and it was because we had to use a contract. Like, we had to use a rocking chair, and I put a rope on it, and
Oh, as I say, you had to finagle something because that would
yeah,
get old real
he
quick.
didn't like the automated ones. It was not violent enough.
Oh,
Like,
not
his
hard.
head was going like this, like when he's sleeping, but it worked out. Anyway, I had the dream. One night I had watched, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Logan's Run,
Yeah.
pulpy
Mhm.
60s, 70s
Oh yeah.
movie
Yeah.
where people live until they're 26, and then
Mm-hmm.
they ascend and all this
Yeah.
stuff. So it's a dystopian thing. And then
Yeah.
Logan escapes and he finds out that the world's not destroyed and
Yeah.
everything's a bunch of lies. So I had just watched that. I'm exhausted, and I had this weird, like, in between fever dream of being awake and him like crying and like waking me up. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you could have been the unlucky one that didn't get in here, right?
Yeah.
And it just, like, it hit me like, here's a dystopian world where it's based on your birth order.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an even born, or if you're the odd born, you get put into these different jobs. 1, 3, 5, 6, or 7, and 9, you get
Yep.
put in these jobs. And then the evens are, left. you know
Right.
it's called sanitation in the book,
Yep. Yep.
in this the book. And I wanted to write a character who had to do that, completely different from me, from everything I've written.
Yeah.
And I wrote it originally, as a short story for the R.L. Hubbard Writers of the
Oh yeah.
Future
Mm-hmm.
competition,
Yep.
which I got an honorable mention. I don't know where the sheet is.
Oh, that's
We
sweet,
got
man.
an honorable mention for it, which was cool.
Heck yeah.
And I was like, I'd never written a short story. Obviously, I write long books. Um, I did it as a challenge to myself. And then uh, JCM Byrne, Joe Byrne, of Wistful Ascending fame, had this magazine he was putting out called Grim Dwarf, where it
Yep.
was a monthly magazine, and you can put in short stories or like little shorts. And he put it. I asked to go into it with Unlucky Evens, and as it was only like 12,000 words, which is pretty short. Well, for me at least. And it got good reception. There was a couple people really, really liked it, and people were reading it. And then our good buddy, Mr. Wolf, entered his Whisper That Replaced God
Yeah.
novella into the Sphinx competition, which is the novella
Mm-hmm.
competition of science fiction, fantasy,
Yeah.
horror, book, novellas competition. And I thought to myself, I can expand this story because there's a lot still missing to make a novella. And I was not happy with Lady Drakeslayer where it was. I needed to break. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to do something else to fill my creative well. And so I took that story and then I added I doubled the word count, added much more depth to it. And again, I wanted to use that same mindset of immersion, but I wanted to do it completely different. I do almost all of the world building in Unlucky Evens, Cursed Odds with dialogue. Uh,
Yeah, that's true.
90% of it is with dialogue.
Hmm.
So again, I just wanted to challenge myself, and I love it. It's a fun little timey wimey, classic pulpy story that you know what the hell did I just read? Like, is this true type thing? Like the
Yep.
ending is kind of like, is this a did this happen? What happened? Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to raise questions, and
Hmm.
it's gotten a good response. It's in Sphinx now for the next competition, so
Nice.
I'm hoping I do well. But I'm in the same group as ZB Steele and uh, K.E. Andrews and Yuval Kordov.
Oh,
It's
man,
like the group of
a
death.
lot of good novellas. Yeah.
Like, damn
Oh
it.
man, they're like, come on. Well, I think it was awesome, dude, and I really enjoyed it. And even though it's a novella, like it reads like a short story because it's just so quick. It's just a really quick read. Like it's when you get done, it's hard to believe. Like, oh man, it was really that long because you just blow through it. It's so good, and the way you ended it, I like too. And I have to ask because I liked it so much. You think you'll ever go back to that? I know you've gotten this question before.
Shane actually asked me, and a couple other people have asked me. I don't have plans,
Hmm.
but I'll never say never.
Right.
Um, the thing is, though, with this one, yes, there is a lot of potential. Like,
Hmm.
I'll be honest, there wasn't a point where I thought, do I make this a longer novel and make
Right.
it be kind of like Logan's Run? Because if you go into Logan's Run, he goes back and
Hmm.
topples, the unjust system up at the top, and I could do that, but I don't
Right.
know if I want to.
I know it kind of
Um,
ended like it felt like it should have ended. Like it just
yeah,
fit really nice. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
you'd have to think of a whole new thing to go back to it.
yeah,
There's nothing left unwritten. You know. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
At this point, yes.
Yeah.
Again, I'll never say never, but the likelihood is very low.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do
And
want to
that's
write something not like this type of dystopian sci-fi, but I
yeah.
want to write another novella like this, where
Yeah.
it's fun. Like, I'm not like, I like sci-fi. Like, I like Star Wars. I like Star
Hmm.
Trek. I'm not a Trekkie by any means. I
Yeah.
like Firefly and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a fantasy person.
Hmm.
And with sci-fi, when they start getting into like the hard sci-fi, brain just turns off.
Oh yeah.
It's just not
Same.
for me. Like,
Yeah.
I did great in chemistry. I did great in you know other classes like that, like the science classes, and I
Yeah.
work in the science field. But I don't want to do physics. I don't want to have to learn astrodynamics and all that stuff. So I will
Yeah.
never do a hard sci-fi. I
Yeah.
just can't do it.
I know. Same. Like you just have to do too much hard research, right?
Yep.
Because then it's got to make sense. Where if it's more sci fantasy, heavy on the fantasy, it can
Yep.
just kind of make sense, and you can play
Exactly.
around with it however you
It's
want.
just magic, baby.
That's right. The magic makes it all possible. Yep, I agree. All right, so we've talked about. So we're already past an hour, believe it or not, which is crazy.
Sorry.
Uh, no, I'm having a blast, man. I don't mind. I'm just gonna say I have some more things to talk about, but I want to respect your time. So, like, if you were planning an hour and you got a dip, it's okay.
I can go a little bit longer for sure.
Okay, okay. Because I want to ask you about your writing process a little bit because you touched on it earlier with your your one sentence outline for every chapter or whatever. So I'm curious. So has that been your writing style through everything, like your original drafts of God's Blood to Lady Drakeslayer to Lucky Evens Cursed Odds to Tanna? Has it all been the same, or has it changed from book to book?
Uh, I will say Unlucky Evens was definitely more of a journey of discovery.
Mhm.
Because I didn't really know what I was wanting to, like, I knew, again, it was a short
Yeah,
story, so I knew I wanted where I
yeah,
wanted it to go.
yeah.
Um, with Lady Drakeslayer, before it became Lady Drakeslayer, I knew, like, I did a little bit more of an outline because there's it's fantasy noir mystery. There is some like intrigue and stuff, so I made sure to um, uh, plot a little bit more with that. But for me, see you, Cal. Thanks for coming.
Yep, see you, Cal. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate you.
For me, I am definitely, when I say I'm a pantster, I let the characters do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I'm like I said, when I know what's in a scene, like I go chapter by chapter, and I will do a this needs to happen in this chapter. Like
Right.
this one, two, or three things need to happen in a
Yeah.
chapter. This person meets this person. This reveal happens in this chapter. This fight scene happens in this chapter, etc. Like that's my outline, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like to lock myself into stuff. Like it's just it doesn't work for me. I know
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, and I'm not. If Dewey's still here, I'm not trying to call him out at all. But his process is a lot more rigid than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Rigid than mine, and he will write pieces of dialogue. He'll write this stuff in his outline. I can't do that personally. Like it doesn't work for me. And the longer I've been doing this, the cleaner I draft. So I don't have to do as many drafts as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, my Colossus draft, like I will take about 2 days to write a chapter. Uh, I get probably 2/3 of the chapter done the first day, and then I'll go back and kind of self edit the first half and then finish the chapter. And I kind of just do that. But like I said, I draft pretty cleanly. Colossus, I finished it in 4 months. It was 75,000 words.
Oh,
I did it
man.
about 4 months with taking a little bit of a break in the middle of it um, because of family stuff.
Yeah.
And I only did one draft of it, and then I did an edit, and that's what I sent to beta readers. Whereas in the past, I would do 3 or 4 edits.
Mm-hmm.
And the four, I did 3 beta readers, and then my critique partner did it. And all of them, the feedback was like, as is, this book would be like ready and raring to go.
That's
Like
awesome.
all I'm doing now is just tweaking and adding a little bit extra stuff, just to make things more cohesive. Doubling down on some stuff.
There you go. He says it works well.
Works for me. So yeah, my process is like it's draft, edit, because I and there's a stigma of indie authors editing their own work.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've really developed a keen eye for editing.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually edited multiple books.
Yeah. So you edit stuff for people.
So I do catch that. Obviously, stuff gets by me.
Right. Right.
People pick stuff up. Uh, Bloody
But that
Andre.
happens in trad books too, and that's why people need to simmer down sometimes.
For some people, it works, but I get it. A lot of people don't have that, be able to
Right.
have an editor brain.
Yeah.
So it's just my process is edit, beta, edit, then do arcs, and then I'll do a final proofread at that point. That's where I'm at now with Godsblood. Obviously all them years of buildup. It took a while to get to this point.
Yeah.
That's why I say Lady Drake Slayer is, personally, I think it's a better book.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of ways, but one of it is like I really found my process with it. And I'm not saying that God's Blood doesn't have or is perfect by any means, but
Mm-hmm.
you can tell that I'm putting multiple stories into one. Like sometimes it feels that way, at least from my mind. If people didn't know I would put that in there, then maybe they don't know that.
Yeah.
But from God's Blood, I took the critique. Unfortunately, the beta readers, I didn't have as many beta readers that were authors on
Mm-hmm.
God's Blood. So like after releasing God's Blood, so people like Alex and Greg and Tim and all them, read God's Blood when it came out. I can get their feedback of like what worked, what didn't. I actually went and did a minor update to God's Blood right before Lady Drake Slayer came out, where I streamlined and did some of the changes at the beginning of the book to help make it easier on the readers, after some feedback. With Lady Drakeslayer, I was able to go complete and get to that point. And it's like I said, it's also a different story type where you already know the world as a reader.
Mhm.
So I didn't have to worry about that part of the world building. I was able to just blast this story out, and it's also the characters that are in there together really made it a lot more fun to write.
Mhm.
Because of the fallout of the climax of Godsblood, the group, the characters together. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for joining. So yeah, I think Lady Drakeslayer is definitely a step up, for sure.
Very nice. Yep. See you, Mike. I think you're seeing comments before I do. They're like, you'll
No,
talk,
I have
say
the
something and
YouTube
it doesn't
version
pop
up
up.
over
I'm
here.
like, what?
I got the YouTube one up here because
Oh, that's why. I was like, I didn't even see anything yet. You're just psychic. All right, very cool. Next question. When you are writing, like when you're indie author, so you don't have like a publishing company breathing down your neck, but you have an idea of when you want something to come out. So when you're in the process of writing it, do you set goals for yourself, like writing goals, like so many words per day, per week, per month? Or are you just like, I'm gonna try to write because you have a little one, so you're busy. Are you two? That's right. You have two. Gosh. So do you just write every day whatever you can and not put too much pressure on yourself? Or a mix?
it's changed.
Mhm.
Again, with the two little ones, we not to get too deep in the weeds, but last year, right around when, literally right after we released Tanna, we released Tanna in April of 24. In May of 24, we found out we had complications with the second
Mhm.
in pregnancy. Everything turned out fine, but
Yeah.
without getting too
Scary
deep, the
stuff.
odds of it getting to where it is
Mhm.
now, were less than 20%. It was like down into the 10%. Like we
Oh
we
yeah.
are very blessed, but it was a really stressful summer. And then I released God's Blood during that,
Oh, that's
uh,
wild, man.
like a moron. And but at that point, it was already set. Like I had
Mhm.
already set it up
Oh
as
yeah.
that.
One had been 15, 17 years or whatever. You were gonna do
Oh,
it.
I didn't mention this, but I actually could have released God's Blood in 23.
Mm.
I had it. I was planning to do it, but the cover artist Felix Ortiz, the goat,
Oh
in my
yeah.
opinion,
Oh, he's so
um,
good.
his schedule is crazy, and he's like, I can't do this for another year. And uh, sorry, my wife just texted me.
That's okay, man. You take it.
Uh,
Show people close up again. It's worth the wait. I mean, look at this, people. Come on now. P.S. This edition I have. Did you do these sprayed edges yourself?
did
They look lovely.
Dewey did the naked cover?
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I
And,
love the naked hardcover. Oh, P.S. Dewey did this too, right?
mm-hmm.
So
Dewey
just
did
in
that
case
cover.
anybody thinks his Tanna cover is awesome, but he can also do really sick, like more adult-looking covers too.
Yep. Oh yeah, his artwork is fantastic. He also
Awesome.
did the headers in God's Blood.
Oh,
The chapter.
really? Hold on. Oh, yeah. Which matches the naked hardcover.
Yep. Yep.
Very cool.
Yep.
Beautiful book.
Um,
Yeah.
so sorry. So Felix was like, I need to wait a year, so I waited
Mhm.
a whole year with that. But with Lady Drakeslayer, I knew I needed to finish it. I knew I needed to get it done and get it out. So towards the end of 24, I was like, I need to finish this by the end of the year. And
Mhm.
then I had already known and agreed to um, the Locks and Keys to be the editor on the Antho. So I knew I had 10 stories that were going to be coming my way to edit. Um, so I had to get the writing done of Lady Drakeslayer and
Mhm.
to be able to do the editing of Locks and Keys. And so I don't write every day. I wish
Mhm.
I could.
Yeah.
If you'd see my setup, I got an L desk. I have two screens for my personal computer, and then right over here, I got my work computer with two
Oh, nice.
screens. So
That's insane.
I will do my work, and then if I ever have a minute or two, I'll try to go over and do this.
Yeah.
Um, but when I do write, I try to get at least 1,000 words in a
Mm-hmm.
session.
Okay.
Um, Sometimes I can get 1,500 to 2,000. It just depends
Nice.
on the groove.
Yeah.
Um, but also my office is in our bedroom, so can't always be in here,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. That's true.
stuff like that. So uh, I try to write every day, but it doesn't always happen. Uh, as long as I'm doing something, whether I'm editing or writing, or I do beta reading now
Yep.
too with these guys.
Same.
I'm reading one of Greg's stories.
Yep.
Um, so I try to do something that way every single
You're a
day.
busy man. Willow Wraith Press too.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Well, that's good. So always progress, right? Always moving forward. Even if you can't write your 1,000 words, you're doing something that's
Yep.
going to be helpful. That's a
Yep.
good way to do it. I like it. All right. What about your preferences? Are you someone that always wants to write in your space there, or do you write other places too? Are you always writing on the laptop, or do you write on your
I
tablet or your phone or anything else?
I can't write on my phone.
I can't either. I don't know
I
how people.
don't write like writing on the laptop because I have a regular desktop computer keyboard and
Yeah.
mouse. I will write on the laptop, but I prefer to do it like what I like to do is because I have the multiple screens, I have the draft up here
Hmm.
and I have my spreadsheets because I like a good
Yeah.
Google spreadsheet.
Oh yeah.
All my information that
Yeah.
like what this character looks like,
Yeah.
what magic's like the magic system. So I have all the bits and bobs right there.
The bits and bobs. I like that.
So I like the dual screens, but also when I'm like doing that second draft, like I said, when I start from scratch, I'll have
Mhm.
that draft up
Oh
on this
yeah.
screen, and
That's
then
so
on this
nice.
one I'll be doing
Yep.
my writing.
Oh yeah. That's second screen, man. That's I hear a lot of authors talk about
Man,
that. It's brilliant. And yes, Miriam, that's a good thing. It is nice to hear. It's nice to hear anybody doing anything like it's taken with their head cut off. But yes, it's good to know that not everybody's like, just do this and do that. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to get it
well,
done with
I,
life.
I'm going to call him out. Greg is going to learn very quickly
Uh-oh.
once his wee one comes in
Oh
January
yeah.
that he's
Hmm.
not going to have the routine of
It's.
you know writing every single day,
Oh yeah.
1,500 words. Like I'm like,
Yeah. He's a writing machine, but yeah, it's
you
probably gonna
wait.
have to change a little bit. But it's gonna be awesome, Greg. But that part probably won't be. It'll be an adjustment for sure. Oh man. All right, awesome stuff. All right, last question, the one that people always want to know. When you're writing, do you like it to be quiet or do you listen to music? And if you listen to music, does it have to be instrumental only?
Nope.
Oh, you got
I
lyrics going?
Nope. I so
Do we? No, if you don't have time for about 16 years.
I am one of those people that have always like I've grown up. My parents, the TV was always on in the background.
Hmm. Same.
Um, so when I was in college before I met my wife, I used to fall asleep with the TV on. Like I had a TV in my bedroom, and I would
Yeah.
have like my movies that I would rotate through
Yep.
and just fall asleep. And I could pick it
Mhm.
up the next day at that exact same spot. And
Yeah.
you know, so I've always been with the background noise.
Hmm.
And I'm also not one of those people that listen to lyrics like deeply.
Hmm.
It's not like I can sing the song after a few times hearing it, but I don't like analyze the lyrics.
Right.
Like I'll look at my wife
It's in your
sometimes and
brain.
be like, "Oh, that's what that song is about." And she's like, "It's right there. You didn't know?" And I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
no, I didn't really pay attention." And
Just
so
repeating the words.
exactly. So for me, I listen to music with lyrics. I have Pandora, um, and I have different stations based on what I feel like writing or what I'm writing that day. Like if I'm writing an action scene or a fight scene, I give me Rammstein, give me the European death metal, which is
Hmm.
like Ailstorm or Sabaton or whatever. And then if I'm writing a slower scene, I'll put on, I've been really into cannons. I don't know if you've heard cannons.
Mm-mm.
Um, I really enjoy the rock music with the female lead singer,
Oh
like
yeah.
Paramore or something like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
For us old people. Uh,
Yep.
but that style of music, like when I'm writing a shorter or a quieter scene,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like. But I get all over the spectrum. I love, give me ZZ Top, give me,
Oh yeah.
film music, give me. Um, I don't very rarely do I do instrumental, but I could
Yeah.
do instrumental. Give me Skrillex, any of that
So
stuff.
just like it's just whatever you feel like listening to.
As
It doesn't
long as
have
it's
to
not
set the
country
scene.
music,
It's just got to be.
it won't be country music. That's
Come
for sure.
on, Bill.
No, will
Well, you know
never.
why? Because if it was country music, you would listen to the lyrics. That's why.
And then I'd turn it off.
Oh man, that's awesome though, dude. Because I think you're the first person to say that. Yeah, I just listen to whatever, and even
Yep.
if you do listen to lyrics, it's not because it's for a certain scene. It's just because I want to listen to it.
Yep. Doesn't matter.
I
Doesn't
love
matter.
it, man. I love it. I'm the same way with your as a kid. There was always noise in the background. I'm just used to it.
Yep.
See, Dewey's singing you some country right now.
Billy
Oh
Ray.
man. Oh yeah. All right. Well, dude, this has been awesome. It's been a blast. I could talk to you all night, but I'll let you get back to your kids. I'll get back to
Well,
mine.
it's
But
at 10:30 for you. It's a late one.
I know, I know. Uh, before we wrap it up, is there anything? I'll give you the floor. Is anything you want to shout out, talk about, re-mention, anything that you want to say? The floor is yours.
Uh, no, read indie books, man. If you know me at all, I would rather talk about other people's books than my books.
Mm-hmm.
Shockingly, even though I just spent an hour and 20 some minutes talking about my books,
Because you never do it. So when you get the
I
chance,
don't. Um, I have, this nice little indie bookshelf going over here.
oh yeah,
Read indie books, man. We write some good books, and I much would prefer to see people like on YouTube or Instagram, with the book channels talk about indie
mm-hmm.
because we need this. Like we need people to talk about our
Yeah,
books to be able to,
yeah,
to keep doing what we're doing. So if
yep.
you like to read science fiction fantasy books, please read indie.
Yes, heck yeah, I agree. I love
You
it,
don't
man.
have to read mine. It doesn't bother
But
me. You don't.
but you should because they're awesome.
But yeah,
All right,
no. I
just
mean,
for
thanks, Chris,
oh, go
for
ahead.
coming on. Letting
Oh
me
yeah,
on
man.
after all
Yeah,
this. And,
heck yeah.
still
Well,
waiting for
I
your skeleton assassin book or whatever.
oh yeah, I'll get it out there eventually. You'll be the first to know, man, because I'm gonna send it your way so you can tell me tell me how it's looking.
Good. Thank
But
you to
thanks,
everybody coming. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
thanks everybody in the chat. You guys were fantastic. And if you're watching on a replay, we appreciate you again. Everything's in the description, all Bill's books, and I will add Locked and Key. So if you're watching on replay, you'll see it down there. And also Willow, Wraith, Press. That is a tongue twister. It gets me every time.
I
Yes,
know.
the nice hat.
WWP.
So yeah, everybody have a great night. Thank you all again. Thank you, Bill. I'd love to have you on again anytime, but for sure, anytime you have a book out, but anytime you want to come on and just hang out, you're
Yeah,
always
for sure,
welcome,
man.
my friend.
Love to.
Heck
Especially the next one. We'll bring the next one.
yes,
Stay
yes.
on. I'll show you the cover.
All right. Oh, I'm definitely going to. All right, everybody. Have a good night. I'll see you in the next one. And until I do, as I always say, devour your TBRs, be brave, be beautiful to one another, and be beastly. We'll see everybody.